Happy Spookies, everybody. I hope you're all doing well, having a most excellent day. And today is Friday, which means Found Footage Friday.
This is Greg Hartman with my thesis video for our final project. Since the assignment was to make a documentary about one of our fellow students, I was personally messaged by Darren Mitchell.
Have you ever heard of Professor Zardonicus?
Kids on campus thought he was an urban legend. Honestly, so did I. Now that I have the right one, and now that I have you, Greg, I can do this.
When you've talked about Greg, it sounds like he has issues.
You believe me, don't you, Greg?
By harassing people, I am out there spreading the word about Professor Zardonicus.
Now, I want to go ahead and spotlight this low-budget film I recently came across. Actually, the director hit me up and asked me to check it out. I gave it a look, and on the first viewing, I will not lie, I was a little like, okay, what is this? Like, it was cool, it was funny, but I did watch this actually a couple more times, and as the more times I watched it, the more I actually appreciate it, and there's actually a message there. It may seem silly, but there's a message there. It was a lot more heartwarming than I was expecting. It's basically about, well, here, let's start off with the director. Written and directed by Gabriel Theis. I'm sorry if I said that last name wrong. If you're new to the channel, then just know I'm very, very bad with names. But yes, written and directed by him. He also stars in the movie as Greg alongside Alec White. I believe, let me double check. Yep, Alec White as Darren Mitchell. Now here we have Greg, who is doing a video for his thesis in his film class. Basically, he has to choose a student to do a documentary on. He goes online, you know, blah, 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 puts out a little advert, and here we have Darren Mitchell, who replies saying, hey, you know what? I see your ad. I was actually a recent victim of an violent assault on campus, and I want to go ahead and share my story. So of course, he's very intrigued. He goes and meets him, and right off the bat, you can just tell, okay, something is up with this dude right here. He is basically a loner, conspiracy type of dude. He seems very out of touch with reality because he is essentially hunting down this urban legend, Professor Zardonicus.
Honestly, so did I. Now that
Which looks like a fucking Pokemon, to be honest. And Greg being kind of the jerk, I'll go ahead and say the character, not the writer, but Greg being the kind of jerk he is, he decides to, you know what, this he knows in his mind, okay, this dude is like not all there, but he ends up exploiting that for his own benefit to make this project. They end up going down a fucking rabbit hole of just goofy silliness and a lot of emotion. I will say that, a lot of emotion. This movie actually touches up on like mental illness, isolation, things like that, how one can be so obsessed with something, how people exploit others or urban legends. This movie is a lot more clever than it leads on to be, especially within like the first like couple halves. It's not until you watch it in its entirety that you really like can see what it's kind of trying to say and stuff like that. The ending, I actually really enjoyed it. I even had to get my girlfriend in there, but okay, I need your help kind of trying to interpretate this ending right here. I really enjoyed how just over the top Darren was with his acting, because he's trying to portray this person that, you know, isn't really there with reality. He's got his own beliefs on things, and he's willing to fight for that truth no matter what it takes. Now, there's a lot of comedic moments in this movie. A lot has to do with just how Greg is interacting or reacting to Darren. You know, a lot of the times he's just going with the flow. He's like, yeah, sure, dude, whatever you say, I believe in you and this mythological being. And other times it's how Darren's interacting with other people. For instance, they both go around and Darren's passing out these flyers that he has with a drawing that he himself drew of Professor Zardonicus. Oh man, it was so hilarious. And just the reactions that people are just giving. There's like one person that gets up and he's like, he is so happy that he came across these two people because it made his day. And of course, Darren takes this all really personal. So for him, that's offensive. He gets offended and he gets mad and he lashes out at the dude. And it's hilarious to see them interact with other students over this Professor Zardonicus. And it's an urban legend. Like, people have heard of it. Some science teacher, professor in the 50s, I believe, they played a prank on him and he got locked in a science building and it like burned down. Also, there's a movie called Mr. Sardonicus or something like that. He does touch up on that movie in this movie, so I thought that was pretty cool.
However, I also discovered a 1961 film titled Mr. Sardonicus. The timing being too coincidental, it became clear how this legend began and spread.
I think one of the funniest scenes in the movie, it's not necessarily a spoiler, but one of the funniest scenes in the movie is Darren and Greg going around, and Darren comes across this dude preaching the word.
He's out here defending his beliefs, no matter how controversial. What would you call it? I mean, he really reminds me a little bit of...
This is how Darren thinks. In his mind, he's like, look, this guy is a believer. I'm a believer. He has to believe me. If I go over there and let him know, yeah, dude, I believe. Now you're going to believe me, right? That's how Darren's thinking. So he goes up to this dude holding a sign, like a Jesus picket sign. And it's one of the funniest interactions I've seen in the movie, to be honest.
I actually came over here to give you one of these. I'm confused. Is this... Did your little brother draw this? Well, no, that's Professor Zardonicus, see? Professor what? Zardonicus, I think it might be a Hungarian name. My friend and I are actually out here trying to prove his existence. I was just wondering if you could, I don't know, keep an eye out, let us know if you see him. I mean, this looks like a monster. Well, he is. Wait. You're trying to get me to believe in a damn monster? Well, yeah, you're a believer, so believe. I believe in the Lord. Okay, so do I. Congratulations, I've scratched your back, now scratch mine. I think that's what Christ would have wanted. I'm not gonna support...
The way that he questions him about the drawing, too. Like, he looks at the drawing and he's just like, I don't get this. Did your little brother draw this? There's also a scene where Greg convinces him that, you know what, maybe you just need a platform or something to go on. And he basically talks him into going to an LGBTQ stand-up, like, poetry slam or something. And it's so ridiculous right there. He gets on stage, and of course, these are people expressing themselves about, like, coming out or just how they feel inside. And of course, this dude just walks up in there and starts ranting on about, like, some mythological being and gets booed off the stage within a minute or so. And he's so upset. This is probably where you see how, like, scary Darren can be, because he gets incredibly upset in the car. And then Greg tries to be like a jerk, and he's like, well, maybe you shouldn't use the LGBTQ platform to spread your freaking shit. And that fool gets mad. He's like,
LGBT poetry slam isn't the best platform.
That was your idea, Greg! That was your fucking idea!
which is true. He knows it. Later on, he starts to, like, realize, like, okay, maybe he does, like, research on his background and stuff like that, talks to his dad, he finds out some things. He's like, okay, maybe this dude isn't all there. Maybe I am an asshole for fucking creating this sort of environment for him. Like I said, it touches up on mental illness and things like that. I enjoyed, who else is in this movie? Let's see, we have Alec White. Kat Thomas is the girlfriend of Greg in the movie. I enjoyed their relationship. I guess this is a spoiler, but things go to shit for Greg at the end of the movie, and their relationship falls apart. But I kind of enjoyed their relationship. I thought she was a really good actress in the movie. After the incident at the poetry slam, Darren ends up going to, like, the campus radio station, and there he meets, I think the guy's name is Keegan. And it's funny, he's like, you know, hey, Darren, you know, thanks for coming here.
How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing all right, Keegan. Thank you for asking.
It's customary.
And he basically calls him out, like, no, dude, you went up to some stage, you stole the light from these people, blah, blah, blah. He has a student body call in, and this one girl calls and just, oh, dude, this is probably the hardest part to watch, is basically him getting called out and not being able to say anything, because you know he's processing that information. He's like, damn it, they're right.
Why aren't you going out there and really trying to find this thing? Why don't you find other witnesses? There has to be somebody else who's seen this thing. Can you say that you have actually gotten any closer to proving that he's real? Got anything to say, Darren? I mean, there's just the fact that he's, I think you got him, Casey.
I don't know. This movie is a lot more emotional. It has a lot of heart in it. It's very silly, though. Like, don't turn it off just because of how silly it's, like, comes off, the acting or anything like that. Because, in my opinion, it's worth a watch. There's a lot more to the surface than what appears to me. The first watch I did, it was hard for me to see it at first, because I was like, okay, what is this? And then I watched it another time. I was like, dude, there's something here. I don't want to spoil the ending, because it's a little weird, it's a little complicated. Even in the movie, Greg is, like, having an interview at the end, and he's kind of trying to explain what he saw and how he interprets it. But it's sort of about how, like, these myths kind of cycle back, or, like, creating these myths out of nothing. I don't want to get into more. If you've seen the movie, let me know. But you can go ahead and rent this on most streaming platforms. I'll find a link and go ahead and leave it there below. But in my opinion, overall, this is a decent movie. I liked it a lot more, but I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna go ahead and put myself in the point of view of a lot of audiences and say, yeah, this is a decent movie. It's good, it's worth a watch. It does have a message, in my opinion. It's a lot deeper than you think. It's silly with the acting. Darren can be, oh man, Darren can be a hard person to watch on screen.
I'm not naive. I don't think that I'm going to be able to find this fantastic creature on my own. But we're going to need the entire student body on our side.
Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and shut up. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and happy spookies.
Look, I didn't really sign up for this Blair Witch shit, all right?
I don't know what that is.
What?
You watched in, like, film class or something?
No, it's iconic, Darren. What are you talking about?
Well, it's not that iconic. I haven't heard of it.